Tonight is a brand new episode of WWE Monday Night Raw, streaming live worldwide on Netflix from the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Critically, it is the final episode of WWE Monday Night Raw prior to this weekend's WWE Saturday Night's main event special, which will of course be the scene of John Cena's retirement match, his final match inside of a WWE ring. With that being said, could Triple H and his creative team have some surprises up their sleeve? In this video, we're going to let you know 5 possible major surprises that could take place tonight live on WWE Monday Night Raw. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling, and tonight is a brand new episode of WWE Monday Night Raw, streaming live worldwide exclusively on Netflix. The show is emanating from the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and it's seemingly going to be a newsworthy and big one because, of course, it's the final episode of Raw before this weekend's WWE Saturday Night's main event special, streaming live on Peacock, airing for free on YouTube in the UK. We'll talk about that in just a second. It is the final stop for the Red Brand prior to John Cena's retirement this weekend in Washington, D.C. And with that being said, with a lot of eyeballs on WWE, particularly because it's Cena's final run, Cena's final week as an active in-ring competitor, could we see some major surprises this evening from Triple H and his creative team? Let's get straight into the possible surprises that we could see tonight live on WWE Monday Night Raw. Beginning with Gunther. It has been confirmed not only is Gunther the final ever opponent for the never-seen 17-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the GOAT John Cena, but also it's been confirmed that Gunther will be live tonight on Monday Night Raw. And seemingly he's going to have a lot to say when it pertains to this weekend's events. It's pretty difficult to believe and fathom, and my childhood brain is exploding at this point. But in just 6 days' time, John Cena will never be seen again as an active in-ring talent for WWE. He will retire from WWE in just 6 days' time. The man who has earned the right to face the greatest of all time in his final match at Saturday night's main event will be in Hershey, Pennsylvania for the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw. Of course, Gunther defeated LA Knight in an exhilarating tournament final matchup this past Friday night on SmackDown. After injuring the megastar's neck with a German suplex, the ring general applied continued pressure until Knight was forced to tap out. Now, of course, moments after his victory, Gunther looked straight into the camera and promised that John Cena will suffer a similar fate this coming Saturday. He has vowed to make the 17-time world champion finally give up. Of course, John Cena has never give up, but this weekend he says he finally will, and he'll send one final message to the entire WWE Universe and John Cena later this evening on Raw. Now, I have seen obviously a lot of talk. There's been a lot of debate, hasn't there, about Gunther being John Cena's final opponent. Is he the right person to face Cena in his final match? If you ask Cena's father, maybe not. If you ask a lot of members of the WWE Universe or just pro wrestling fans in general, is Gunther the right man to face John Cena in his final match? Some are saying no, he isn't. If you look at the dislikes, if you really count that sort of thing, of the video that saw Gunther defeat LA Knight on SmackDown on Friday, you would have seen a lot of people weren't happy about the former world champion being Cena's final opponent. Despite the fact that this has been reported and rumoured for a really long time. We've always been heading here, haven't we? Now, with the tournament, it certainly added a lot of prestige and feels like a lot of big name value or high stakes to having the honour of having Cena's final match inside of a WWE ring. But at the same time, other people have said, maybe rightfully so, that there still feels like there's something missing from this. Yes, it's a big moment. Yes, it's a big match. Cena versus Gunther. But at the same time, could there have been a promo between the two? Could there have been some extra animosity? Is the final thing that needs to sort of seal the deal is a big go-home promo from Gunther or someone like that? Maybe that's what we need, and maybe that's what we're going to get tonight on Raw. Look, of course, John Cena's retirement match, it sells itself, doesn't it? There doesn't need to be a storyline involved in that. There doesn't need to be hype or anything like that because John Cena's last ever pro wrestling match, it sells itself. People are going to watch it regardless. But that doesn't mean you can't make it better. That doesn't mean you can't add extra hype onto it. You're not going to have to do much. Maybe it's just a promo from Gunther this evening. Maybe it's some added stakes. Maybe it's putting pressure on himself. I don't know. Maybe we get a surprise John Cena appearance. It would be quite strange considering he was very much adamant that that match that night at Madison Square Garden a few weeks ago was officially his final Raw appearance. But I guess you never know. There could be one extra one added on there. But Gunther will speak tonight, and I expect a pretty intense promo, a pretty fiery promo, something to kind of, as I said, put the button on this build to Cena's retirement match, add more of an issue, add more, maybe not stakes because the stakes are high enough, but just something, sprinkle a little bit of something to make it feel extra special that of course it already is. So that's what we're going to be getting from Gunther tonight on Raw. Now before I move on to the next number on this countdown list, a reminder, this video is brought to you in collaboration with all of our great affiliates, and of course that includes NordVPN. This weekend, I hinted at it earlier, it's John Cena's retirement match, Saturday night's main event, December 13th. Now, if you're in the United States, it's exclusive to Peacock. Previous Saturday night's main events have been airing on NBC, but that was part of the old deal with NBC Universal. The new deal, of course, sees WWE PLEs air exclusively on ESPN in the United States. And as part of that new deal as well, we have seen Saturday night's main events move from NBC and Peacock to just Peacock. Now, if you're saying, look, it's the holidays, Thanksgiving's just been and went, we've got Christmas on the horizon, we've got presents, we've got gifts, we've got food, we've got traveling, we've got cost of living, we've got bills to pay and everything else in between. I just can't afford all of these subscription services. Well, what if I told you John Cena's retirement match, his retirement show, you can watch for free on YouTube? Well, you can. All you have to do is get a VPN, like NordVPN, and change your location to over here in the UK. Why? Over here in the UK, we don't have Peacock. We don't have that streaming service. It doesn't exist over here. So we watch all of Saturday night's main events specials for free on WWE's YouTube channel. So if you use our link, that's nordvpn.com/WN365. Once again, that's nordvpn.com/WN365. Or scan the QR code, click the link in the video description. It's pinned in the comment section as well. You can get NordVPN. You can get yourself some money off as well. You can get up to 77% off plus 3 months extra or other discounts as well. And you can save yourself some money, support this channel in the process, and watch Saturday night's main event for free this weekend on YouTube. Pretty good going. Of course, reminder, we'll also be live for a watch along and a post show this Saturday as well. All right, let's get back to some surprises tonight on Raw. The question is, what is next for the Women's World Champion Stephanie McMahon? Because it has been confirmed by Raw General Manager Adam Pearce that the reigning Women's World Champion Stephanie McMahon will be at the Giant Center this evening. Seemingly, with WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella now in the rearview mirror, La Primera is searching for her next challenger, but maybe, just maybe, she might not have to look too hard. Liv Morgan, a recently returning Liv Morgan, of course, made her return at Survivor Series, assisting Dirty Dominic Mysterio to defeat the aforementioned John Cena in his final PLE match and regain the Intercontinental Championship. Liv Morgan, she has her sights set on the Women's World Championship, a title she once held for a very long period of time. Morgan clearly has her sights set on the championship belt she used to wear around her waist. Will she step up to the Dark Angel later this evening, or is this part of the early stages of her plan to bring all of the gold back to the Judgment Day? Because, of course, interestingly, coming out of Survivor Series, we had that promo from Liv Morgan and Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and it was an interesting one from Morgan, to say the least, wasn't it? Because Morgan kind of said that she was happy to be back and she helped Dirty Dom get back the Intercontinental Championship, but also maybe lightly criticized the Judgment Day, saying that they need to be wearing more gold, saying that it was good that gold was back in the Judgment Day, but there could be more. Of course, remember, just before Liv Morgan got hurt, she was the Women's World Tag Team Champion with Raquel Rodriguez. Not at the time that she did get hurt, but they recently lost the titles to Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam, but still, she has been a regular holder of gold in the Judgment Day. And when it comes to Vaquer, she needs opponents. Of course, she faced Nikki Bella, defeated her. The other talent on Monday Night Raw seemingly are maybe tag team stuff. We've seen, obviously, the Kabuki Warriors are the tag team champions. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky look like they're involved in that situation. And I don't think there's really any demand for Nikki Bella and Vaquer to run it back after Survivor Series. So maybe Liv Morgan is who is next for La Primera. Now, we don't really know some of sort of the physicality situations with Liv Morgan at the moment. Yes, she's back. Is she back because she's cleared to compete in the ring? She's cleared to take bumps. When would they have that match? I mean, there isn't a PLE for quite some time. This weekend, Saturday night's main event special, of course, is set to feature John Cena's retirement match, but the rest of the matches are going to be WWE main roster talents versus NXT talents. That's why already we've got the likes of Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi set. We've got Bayley versus Sol Ruka, and expect other matches to be announced and added tonight on Monday Night Raw. So with Liv Morgan. Maybe they have that match at the Royal Rumble, which is towards the end of January next year. So there's plenty of time. It's like 6 or so weeks away. So Morgan, if she's not physically ready to compete now, should be, one would think, in about 5-6 weeks' time. So maybe they lay the foundations for that. As far as the more immediate future, maybe Vakur follows the path of the WWE Champion Cody Rhodes on SmackDown, whereby she faces off against an NXT talent. Who it could be, there's a lot of people to pick from, but we'll find out certainly what's next for Vakur tonight on Monday Night Raw. Next up, we do have titles on the line this evening, don't we? Yes, the World Tag Team Championships are on the line, and AJ Styles and Dragon Lee seemingly say they want to be fighting champions. After successfully defending their World Tag Team Championships against The New Day last Monday night, they went straight to Raw General Manager Adam Pearce to request another match. The War Raiders lost the World Tag Team Championships to Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods at WrestleMania 41, but never received a rematch for the gold. Eric and Ivar finally get their opportunity to become 3-time tag teams champions later on this evening. Now, if you watched the Major Surprises video that I did last week, you will remember that I kind of thought that maybe it was going to be a short reign for AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. I thought they'd drop them back to the New Day. I've been quite critical of the tag team division on Monday Night Raw. I think there obviously is a lot of things you can criticize Paul Triple H, Levesque, and his creative team for. Certainly this year, when it comes to creative in WWE, it feels like on both Raw and SmackDown, the tag team divisions aren't that important. More so certainly on Monday Night Raw. There have been a lot of tag team championship runs with teams that you just kind of forget, frankly. The Judgment Day have had a couple. As I mentioned, the New Day held the belts, never really defended them. The War Raiders were the champions, didn't really do that much. So I am enjoying the added focus being put onto the division. I still don't know if we're getting a long reign between AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. What is certainly very interesting, and this kind of happened with Sami Zayn over on SmackDown when he was the United States champion, when you do the gimmick of we're going to keep defending the belts every single week. We're going to be defending them. WWE kind of likes to point out, don't they, that this isn't always a good idea. This isn't always a good thing for the champions because you can just so easily lose them. And if you keep defending them every single week, it's a matter of time before you actually do lose the titles. Do I think they'll lose them to the War Raiders tonight? I don't think so, but I still don't really know where this one is going, and I still feel like with AJ Styles, certainly he needs to be freed up to do some single stuff because we haven't got long of AJ Styles left. Don't worry, he's fine. But I mean in terms of his WWE professional wrestling career, he said that he's going to retire next year, probably around WrestleMania time. I think his contract's up in February. That's like 3 or 4 months away. We don't have a lot of time left of AJ Styles, and no disrespect to Dragon Lee, but at the same time, I want to see AJ Styles doing as much as he can as a singles talent, having great matches with talents that he's worked with before or maybe he hasn't worked with previously in his final months as an active in-ring WWE superstar. Maybe that will kick off once John Cena's retired because the focus really should be on Cena right now. You can only do one retirement angle at a time, I guess, but when it comes to Styles, I just hope that the remainder of his WWE career isn't wasted being in a tag team when he could be doing singles stuff. Next up, we've got Finn Balor versus Rey Mysterio tonight on WWE Monday Night Raw. And seemingly, Rey Mysterio's feud with not only his son, but also the Judgment Day is kind of never-ending, isn't it? The Judgment Day, and I guess as long as they remain affiliated with Dominic Mysterio, it appears that Dom's deadbeat dad Rey will always be a thorn in their side. The Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio will take on Finn Balor tonight as he looks to get in line, I guess, for a shot at his son's Intercontinental Championship, but he'll need to keep his head on the swivel with not just for members of the Judgment Day, but also the Vision as well. He certainly had this altercation with Logan Paul, didn't he, last week? It's an interesting one as to where this one is going to go. As I mentioned, is it going to be Rey having this issue with the Vision because they do need stuff to do? Bron Breakker is seemingly focused on CM Punk stuff, where Bronson Reed is going to be focused on Bronson Reed versus Rey Mysterio. That's an interesting one. We've already seen Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio in the past, haven't we? It was a United States Championship match back at Crown Jewel in Saudi in 2023, I think it was. And Logan Paul won the United States Championship, I believe, at that time. So I don't know if I really have much desire to see that again. At the same time, do I have a ton of desire to see Rey versus Dom once again for an Intercontinental Championship? That's certainly interesting. Once more, when would they have that match? Maybe at the Royal Rumble? Is it going to be a thing where Rey Mysterio has to go through all of the members of the Judgment Day to get to his son, Dirty Dom, for the Rumble? But then is Dom going to be in the Royal Rumble match to do something maybe that his father did, of course, back in 2006? And that's win the Royal Rumble maybe from the number 2 spot. Try and break his father's record. Maybe that's the direction that this one is going in. So we're going to get Balor and Mysterio. They faced off a bunch of times. It will no doubt be a good TV match. I'm sure about that. And finally, speaking of the Judgment Day, it's going to be a busy evening for them because we've got action as Roxanne Perez is going to face off against Lyra Valkyria. Of course, as is always the case with the Judgment Day, there'll be strength in numbers because Raquel Rodriguez will be in the corner of Lyra Valkyria. So we'll see these two face off. And it's an exciting one, certainly in terms of the development from both these stars, former NXT Women's Champions. And the Women's Tag Team division is certainly got a lot of depth in it at the moment, maybe the most depth it's had in quite some time. There isn't a team around that isn't trying to position themselves for a shot at the Kabuki Warriors. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, they're after those women's tag team titles, particularly after Liv Morgan kind of dressed them down last week to say, you're going to need to get titles. We're going to need to get gold back in the Judgment Day. And they stood tall after an all-out brawl broke out last week on Raw. And the Prodigy is going to try and keep that positive momentum going tonight when she goes up against former Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria in singles competition. Bayley, one would think, will probably be in the corner of Valkyria, even though she isn't on that graphic. And maybe we are building to something like a woman's equivalent of what we saw at SummerSlam. If you recall at SummerSlam, we saw that 6-pack TLC match, didn't we, for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It'd be pretty cool to see that with the women, wouldn't it? A, multi-team tables, ladders, and chairs match. You could have the Kabuki Warriors, Flair and Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, the Judgment Day, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Am I forgetting someone else? Probably I am, somewhere in there. So that could be fun. I have no idea if that's what they're building towards. It doesn't really feel like that. But there's a lot of depth and there's a lot of different teams vying for those titles. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Certainly it does. So there you go, guys. There are 5 possible major surprises that could take place tonight live on WWE Monday Night Raw. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions? Which ones are more likely than others? As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.